Welcome back to the channel, guys. Great to have you guys here as we continue our series this week talking about just being real and being authentic on social media. Monday, we talked about how agents quit social media too soon and how it's kind of like in that invisible stage, right as they're about to get momentum, they quit. Wednesday on the podcast, we talked about how you just want to be real and be telling stories and how storytelling is how you win on social media. And I want to talk to you guys more about this because I believe this will be a relief for so many realtors out there, especially if social media has started to feel heavy or exhausting, like it's weighing you down. And I want to talk about simple content, just being real and being yourself. Simple content builds more trust than perfection. And the reason that matters is because perfection is one of the biggest reasons agents stop showing up. And I want you guys to show up on social media. It reminds me a little bit of a story. I can only say so much because I signed an NDA, but years ago, actually, probably not even that long, probably, I don't know, a year ago, I showed a house. And to show this house, I had to sign an NDA. Why? Because this person, we'll try to keep it very vague, right? This person was a social media influencer in the mom space, and they didn't want anyone knowing anything about their house. Me and my client later found this person on social media, on Instagram, and realized they were nothing like the Instagram person. They were not real. They were not authentic. During I'll be vague intentionally, but I remember being at the house and the listing agent was there, which of course is not normal. And the seller kept calling the listing agent and saying, that person has kids. Have them stop doing this, stop doing that, stop doing this. But the videos talked so much about how to include your kids in baking. When I found the Instagram later, I said, "Oh, she's baking in the kitchen with her kids, and that's the kitchen, and that's the little stool she has her kids on, or whatever." And I remember feeling actually genuinely sad for this person because the Instagram life that she lived was nothing like her real life. She was so upset about people and what room they were in, and they're touching stuff and this and that. But on Instagram, she talks about having a home where you just kind of let your kids live and have fun and be free. And it actually made me sad because that was not the real person, what the influencer. But I think it just goes to show you that perfection doesn't work. Maybe it worked for her for a period of time, but the people that know her realize, if she was anything like she came across, this person's not real at all. This person doesn't want to include her kids in anything. In fact, she doesn't like kids. She doesn't want them around. She doesn't want them touching anything. Now, I get that there's a difference between including your own kids in cooking and kids in your house during a showing, but to me, it was a very eye-opening experience. And I would much rather you be your authentic self. I have so many people that I coach and learn from that I'm proud of. And I just love that when they find success on social media, the success comes when they are just their authentic self. Few people that I know recently that I'm coaching: Dave Freeland, Sarah Lingle, agents under me at EXP, Dutch Schrapp, Mandy Regal. So many people are just being their authentic self. They all do a great job, but I'll use Sarah as an example for a second because Sarah loves healthy food and healthy living and things like that. She is being authentic to her when she just talks about healthy living and healthy recipes and cooking healthy stuff. Imagine if she talked about that stuff on Instagram, and then every time I was with her, I saw her eating 27 slices of pizza and drinking 17 liters of soda. Obviously, a little dramatic. I would be like, this person's not authentic at all. For me, as I went through my health journey in 2025 and now into 2026, I get inspiration from watching Sarah because she's real, she's authentic, and she's not telling you about some recipe or things to eat that she's not eating herself. She is her real and authentic self. Earlier this week, we talked about why agents quit social media too soon. One of those biggest reasons people quit and don't show up is they feel like they have to be perfect. I don't want you to be perfect. I don't want you to quit either, right? I want you to be out there sharing your real and authentic self. We talked about your buckets that I shared weeks ago, just sharing the real and authentic version of you. So we talked about that Monday, and I want you guys to realize you don't have to be perfect, you don't have to be polished. Then on Wednesday's podcast, we talked about how storytelling and being that real and authentic self builds trust faster than any marketing strategy. Stories don't need to be perfect, they don't need to have it all together. They need to be honest. That's it. And that is where simple content wins. I have my feelings and thoughts. I share them in an authentic way and I be myself. And people realize they want to be around me and they like me, right? People will gravitate to you. The right people will gravitate to you when you are real and authentic. Most realtors think that content has to be a certain way, perfect lighting, perfect captions, perfect delivery, etc. So instead of posting something, they post nothing. They overthink, they redo things, they convince themselves they'll post later. Even myself, right? 2 terabyte iPhone, okay? And there's videos on there that I've never posted that just need to go. We always say, so many of us say, oh, I'll just post it later, and later never comes. Perfection stops you and slows you down. So I want you to slow down, be your real and authentic self, and share that. Some of you know me, I'm a lot, right? You guys, some of you are probably laughing right now. If I'm too much for you, that's okay. You can, there's the unfriend button or whatever. But the people that appreciate and love me and care about me and are like, "Oh, you're my people," they are the people I want to be around. They are the people I want to be around. And one of the best compliments you'll get on social media that I've gotten many times if you are real and authentic is this. People say to me, John, you're the same person online as you are in person, and vice versa. That doesn't come from perfect content. That doesn't come from having it all together. That comes from the real and raw and honest. We've shared about, church hurt, our journey with kids, all these things on social media that show people I'm a real person. I'm a real person. And it just comes from being willing to be raw and real. I got to be honest with you guys, seriously, like, I don't think people like the polished. I don't think people like it when it's all together. Some of you have even said you watch my videos and I make a mistake. Now, some of it I certainly edit, but I don't take too much time on it. I post the video as I record it. And sure, I make mistakes and try to cut those out. We know I say right and all the time, literally all the time. So I'll try to make sure there's not 100 of those, but I'm just my real and authentic self. I am. And when you show up with your real and authentic self, people recognize you and trust you. Simple content, just being yourself works because it feels human. It feels real. It feels accessible. It feels safe. When me and my wife share about our journey with kids, parents out there are like, Amen. I get that. Thanks for sharing. They don't say, oh no, how dare you like have a mess in your house or feel like you get to the end of each day like you just survived. That's real. And if you have young kids out there, you know exactly what that's like. People want real. They don't want to be impressed. They don't want to feel like you're up on this pedestal or whatever. They want you to be real and raw. And so when you put out simple content that connects with people in a real way, it lowers the barrier for connection where they feel like, oh, I can message John. I saw him mess up in this or whatever, and have a good laugh about it. So here's the mindset shift I want you to make as we close out the week. Stop asking, how do I make this better? Stop saying, how do I make it more real and easier to repeat realness? If you can repeat being real, you can stay consistent. If you stay consistent, right? What did we talk about earlier this week? Trust compounds. You don't need more effort. You don't need perfection. You need simple execution of those buckets and sharing them in an authentic way. So if social media has been feeling heavy, hear this, guys. You don't need perfect. You need to be present and real and yourself and authentic. Simple content, being yourself, builds trust. Know, like, and trust. Trust builds relationships. Relationships turn into business, not immediately, like we talked about on Monday, but you have that invisible stage, and then it will turn into trust down the road. So stick with the simple, stick with the real. I'll see you guys on the next video.